Seeing and hearing how others improve and grow is part of the process of increasing your own sales. Each week, Eric Lofholm interviews one of his students to showcase their success and the significant impact it's had on their life. Learn how people just like you have applied what they've learned in Eric's course and the success they've experienced as a result. This is the CSI Case Study Podcast with Eric Lofholm.
Hi, this is Eric Lofholm. I want to welcome all of you to another great edition of the Continuous Sales Improvement Case Study Podcast. And today I have another great guest, one of my star clients, Glaseman. And Christine, I want to welcome you to the podcast.
Thank you, Eric. It's an honor to be here.
All right. So go back to when you and I first got connected. Do you remember what was going on? Was it a seminar? Was it a webinar? Do you remember how we first got connected?
Yes, I actually want to back up just a little bit too, to even how I got invited to one of your seminars. It was really kind of a cool thing that happened. So I joined a women's business networking group and have been a part of that for maybe a few months to a year. So I was building some friendships inside of that group, and there was one gal who came to that group who was not quite. She didn't have a lot of friends yet. She was newer. And so I remember we were all talking after the meeting one day, and I knew what her services were. And so I kind of publicly acknowledged her and built her up in front of the other women. And I think it really must have really touched her, because she talked to me afterwards, and she invited me to a sales training seminar that was that weekend, and it was yours. And so we actually went together. And we went through the whole weekend, and it was awesome. I felt like I had a change in my mindset. I feel like I really had a genuine shift in my business, that I was on one path when I was attending your seminar, and after I left, it was I had more clarity, a lot more understanding, and I was inspired. And yeah, so just a lot of great things started to happen after that.
Fantastic. Well, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself. What do you do? And share with them a little bit about your family, your kids, and your husband, and so forth.
Oh, sure. So I'm an independent health insurance agent. So I specialize in major medical employee benefits for small businesses with all the way down to 2 employees up to 99. And serving the greater Sacramento area, although I am licensed for the entire state of California. I have some clients down in SoCal and Bay Area, but the majority of my clients are in the greater Sacramento area, and I've been licensed since 2008. That's hard to believe that I'm going into my 14th year. Eric, when I first met you, I had only been licensed for about 3 years. I was a very young agent. Things were kind of just starting to click. I was starting to understand things, but I didn't really have a clear understanding of how I was going to market my services and everything. So it's a lot of growth since I first came to that first seminar, and just lots of learning, and I've just continued to benefit from all your awesome content. So about myself, so I'm married. I have 2 girls. They are ages 16 and 18. One is in college, and the other one's still in high school. And they've grown up kind of in this industry, learning about. They've been seeing me when they were small. I used to bring them to meetings. So we don't have any family here, so there was a lot of times that I might have to bring one or both of them. And so they've had a lot of exposure to what it means to be an entrepreneur and problem solving, and it's been awesome. We're very blessed.
And your husband's in insurance as well. Do you guys keep your business separate, or do you work together? How do you guys do it?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I would not be in this industry without him, because the way I got exposed to it was he was working for a broker down in Sacramento who had a pretty big agency. And so he had been licensed since the 90s. And he used to be a general manager of an auto glass shop. And there was a broker who came and who was prospecting them and was talking with him. and they really connected as great friendship. And that agent wrote the employee benefits for that group, and then eventually kind of recruited Randy to come and work for him. And so I started learning about the business vicariously through him and what he was doing, and I was just very impressed um, with the kind of service that they provided. I had no idea what a health insurance agent did. And I just thought it was remarkable, the amount of problem solving and the service they provided, how they help people. And so that was 2008. So, there's a big economic shift during that time. And Randy said to me, he said, says, I think you should do this. You'd be really good at it. You should get your license. So I went and got my license, and I just started just really gradually with a couple of individual medical, a little bit of life insurance. And then it just kind of started to very slowly, but steady growth from that time. And Randy, since that time, unfortunately, he was laid off in 2012. And then during that time, my business it was growing. But he started doing a lot of handyman projects, and he's enjoyed doing that. But now he kind of fills in when it gets really busy. The crazy time for me is September through, I'd say, December every year, with the bulk of the intensity hitting in, I'd say, late October through November. And so he supports me during that time with a lot of the back office stuff. And of course, I go to him if there's something I need additional counsel on, and how to get something done with the carriers for the clients. So
Fantastic. Now, I'm one of your clients. So you spoke
yes,
to me. I've been one of your happy clients for many years. And
yes.
do you remember the circumstances? I don't remember. Did you prospect me, or how did that all happen?
Yeah, so somehow, so I think like you, or maybe it was Jairus, who was at Paul Ryder's house, and he used to have like these cash flow game nights, networking, super fun. And I remember talking with her, um, and I think I started with prospecting her, building the relationship with her, because if you go to my website, storehouseins.com, you will see that it is health insurance from a woman's perspective. I understand that women are the majority healthcare decision makers, so I kind of have branded myself for that. And yeah, so that was kind of how I got in the door. And I'm so glad, Eric, because we made a really big difference for you guys. I know that we greatly improved your coverage, and got rid of a big deductible that a lot of the employees had, and saved quite a bit of money. So that's always really satisfying to do. I love doing that. Could do that all day long.
Now, when you prospected my company, was that out of your comfort zone, or was it just very comfortable for you? Was it easy for you? What was it like from your perspective, from a mindset standpoint?
Yeah, no, actually, it was very comfortable, and it was very natural. And I realize now that that's usually how I prospect now, and how I'm connected to new people. And I've kind of come to the understanding, now it's great to get out of your comfort zone, I fully believe in that. And I still do practice that because it helps you to grow. But I think that what you can do consistently is what is going to come more naturally to you. And I did spend a fair amount of time in growing my um, learning prospecting. I felt I did spend a fair amount of time doing things that were so uncomfortable that I just could not continue to do it. I couldn't be consistent on a regular basis. So I I do make it a point to find that balance between getting out of your comfort zone, but not so much that you're going to totally burn yourself out. So that's a continual balance. But yeah, overall, it was not. It wasn't like super intimidating. It was completely natural talking to Jairus and following up a little bit. I was a little bit nervous, I think, when I came to your office and actually went over the numbers and everything. I think Randy might have come with me. Yeah, he probably did. And that probably helped. But the initial thing was not really nerve-wracking at all, because, you know, I think the most fun way to do business is to make friends. And, people who you're in rapport with are going to be a lot more open to what you have to say. So it's not just products that we're selling. We're, especially in my industry, and anyone can buy insurance anywhere, but it's the people that you choose to partner with, how you know those people and how they are, that they're going to take care of you and that they care about you generally. So hope that answers your question.
Excellent. Well, absolutely. One of the fun
Good.
things that you and I have done, you've had me speak a few times to groups that you're involved with. And so
Yes.
maybe you can just speak about, reaching out to me and having me come and speak to your groups.
Yeah. Oh, that's super fun. So I think I'm just naturally by nature a connector. And so I love to find people who have things of value to share with a group that I'm connected with, and bringing them in, just because I know that something they could say could really cause a breakthrough for people who are there, just like for me. And so yeah, so it's super fun. But you've always delivered incredible value, great content. It's always encouraging, uplifting. So absolutely love doing that.
Yeah. So for any of you watching, if you have a group that you would like me to do a Zoom for, or if it's local to me in Sacramento, doing a free speech to your group, reach out and we can talk about it. And if I have time in my calendar, I'd be happy to talk to your group. So, Christine, the last thing I want to talk with you about is that there's two types of people that would be watching this. One is somebody who's already a client of mine, and the other is somebody who's not a client of mine. And so, could you just speak to maybe the group they're not a client, they're considering joining one of my programs or hiring me to coach them or joining the protege program? From your perspective, if you felt like it's been a good value for you when you worked with me and being in the conversation with my company, that has been helpful. Maybe you could just speak from your perspective to that.
Absolutely. So one thing, Eric, I do want to talk about. We all like talking about tangible results, tangible benefits. So it wasn't for a number of years. So I was going along, just building my business, staying in the conversation, listening. And I do think a big part of success is being consistent and staying plugged in and continually learning, continually reflecting, refining on your practices and what you're doing. And I had a really cool experience about 18 months ago. So I was actually involved with a business with you, and I was following some of your instructions for prospecting, and it was actually prospecting over social media, over LinkedIn. So I started connecting with a lot more people than I was before, and being consistent about those 1 to 5 connections every day, whether it was a connection or a conversation. And so I reached out to one person, so one thing to note about being consistent in your prospecting, a lot of times it is about being in the right place at the right time. And when you are taking those consistent actions, then you're going to increase your chances of opportunity of being in the right place at the right time. And so I just happened to connect with someone who was part of a financial firm, and they had a need in their office. And I had no idea what that was, but he said that we have some needs in our office, and would you be interested in coming down and talking to us? And like, sure. So, and I've talked to lots of financial planners. I have financial planners who refer me business because I help them with freeing up money for their clients to invest with them, savings through their health insurance. And so I went down there and ended up meeting with the CEO, and he actually needed a person for their office to manage the benefits for their small business clients. And he actually wanted to hire me, but I said, let's do this instead. Let's contract together, and I will be the servicing agent for your groups, and you'll be the broker of record and just pay me a flat fee every month. So we've been doing that for like the last 18 months. And so, Eric, this has added an additional, I'd say, between $25,000 and $30,000 for to our income for the year. So it's a consulting arrangement. So I like to think of it looking
Wow.
back. Yes, I know, right? So, but this is a combination of consistency, being consistent with your prospecting efforts. Number two, procession, and you talk about this in your programs more in depth. but it's a really good thing that happened on the way to working on something else that it ended up being really significant
Hmm.
and great. And gosh, there were some other distinctions too. It's, oh, POI. So this person's now a POI for me because now I'm leveraging this entire other network. He has 8 other financial advisors who work for him, and they're starting to send me leads for small business and Medicare. So it's a combination of a whole bunch of stuff that you've taught in your programs that had I not been in that, I don't know if it would have worked out the way it did, but I'm really glad that I had that knowledge and then I was consistent. And yeah, so incredible blessing. I would absolutely encourage anyone. Gosh, I look at what I invested in your program and, probably made that back within just a couple of weeks. I mean, I've made it back thousands of times over. So,
Yeah, you make a really great point. High quality sales training, it should be a
yes,
great investment that gives you a tremendous return. And I'm so
yes.
happy that you got a great return. And really, I feel that all of my clients should be able to get a great return. Well, Christine, it's been so wonderful just to spend some time with you today. And
Eric,
I
can I share one more
appreciate
thing?
you from, yeah, go ahead.
I just thought of something. So, I get prospected quite a bit myself now. People coming to me wanting to sell their insurance products, different plans, or, other things too. And I find myself, Eric, saying, like, just begging my mind, please give me a good sales presentation, because so often I see holes in the way people approach me and then how they present to me. There's big holes, there's big gaps, so that personally I'm not comfortable with moving forward because something's missing. And I can honestly say your programs will fill in those gaps.
Yeah.
So you will help people become so much more effective. um, I don't know about you, but I really observe when someone comes and prospects me. I like kind of step outside the situation. I look at how I feel with how they are approaching me, and I take from that, um, and I just make note of it because when I go to prospect people, okay, I'm not going to do that, or I am going to do that. So, but I wouldn't have been aware of that without your program. So your program's invaluable for the sales training. And yes, a very happy customer here.
Fantastic. Well, it was great to spend this time with you today, Christine. I appreciate you as I'm your client. You're a client of mine. I love it when we have a chance to connect, and I appreciate the opportunities to speak to your groups through the years. And thank you so much for taking some time out to share with all of our listeners today.
Anytime. Appreciate it.
All right. So that's going to wrap up another edition of the Continuous Sales Improvement Case Study Podcast. Thank you all for listening, and I look forward to connecting with you on a future show. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this episode, make sure and subscribe to get notified of new episodes every week. Or if you're one of my students with a success story you'd like to share, send me an email at eric@ericloffhome.com, and maybe you'll be on my next episode. Until next time, keep on improving.